Okay. Are we ready? Are we good? All right. So, back in September, I got a call from my buddy Jake.
Hello.
Asking if I wanted to drive with him and 9 volunteers to Ukraine. You know.
We begin in Ukraine.
The war in Ukraine.
A major military operation against Ukraine.
That Ukraine. My answer was something along the lines of,
well, duh.
The plan was to take vehicles and medical aid along with a charity called Driving Ukraine. Now, just a few short weeks after that, I was stood on a memorial site 1,300 miles away from home, talking to a mother right next to her son's grave. Her son who had been killed in action just 1 year prior. In this video, I want to share with you the few days leading up to this moment and some of the amazing work that this charity is doing.
I'm sat at the services waiting to be picked up by my entourage.
So there we were, the whole convoy together.
Fancy seeing you here.
5 cars, 11 people. Me and Jake, Fynn, who runs the charity, another Fynn, Andy, Tom, another Tom, Des, Pip, Nat and Nick. Now, we didn't set off without problems.
We have to push the Ranger to start, get enough speed, and then kicks in.
But within a minute or two, we were on the road making swift progress.
Morning.
Hello? You want good time?
For about 10 minutes.
Oh my god, there's a bumper falling off.
A few zip ties later, we were back on the road. Day 1, we covered England, France,
Nick, over there, nearly got arrested by French border force.
Belgium,
What are you getting out of the journey so far? Tired eyes.
the Netherlands, and Germany.
It's not at all annoying.
Day 2
Morning team.
was Germany and Poland.
This amount of meat in that day will stud you up forever.
Day 3 was finally Ukraine.
We're sat in the border queue. And you, sir?
After some makeshift slacklining and a few beers
They know the English eventually will find the beer.
and a stop for a wee, we went straight to the workshop. Now this was our host, Maxime. Maxime ran the workshop and seemed like the kind of guy that just gets shit done. With Pasha, Nick and a team of volunteers, they're responsible for getting everyday 4x4s ready for the battlefield. Now, things started to get a bit out of hand when our new host insisted we do shots. But that's Ukrainian hospitality, I guess. The team started to unwind and the friendships we've been forging on the trip so far really started to strengthen. As the night progressed, the atmosphere shifted. Through all of the laughter and the jokes, the gravity of the situation really hit us when we met 2 combat medics, Ihor and Evgeny. Now, Ihor had brought his son with him, who joined him proudly, camouflaging the vehicle his dad, his hero, would be driving back to the front line the very next day. And Evgeny stood hand in hand with his partner. Seeing the 2 of them stood there, thinking how my family would be, knowing I was leaving to go and fight a war the next day, really put into perspective the amount of bravery these people have. The 4 of them stood laughing and joking with us, like it was just another day, all the while knowing that in a few days' time, they'd be away from their families, fighting to protect the people and the country that they love. The next morning followed suit. After an early bedtime,
It's my life and it's now or never.
we all got up and followed Maxime to a mural that was being painted in memory of a local man, Taraz, who had been killed in action. Maxime told us he was a university professor and was known and loved by his community, and that the mural we were looking at had been painted so it could be seen from both his school and from his mum's house. Following this, we all got back in our beloved 4x4s and drove to the War Memorial in central Lviv. Now, I don't have as much footage from the memorial as I would like to, but at the same time, I feel like I have way too much. I was invited on the trip solely as a photographer, and being a photographer, I'm used to standing out, being up on stage, hanging out the back of a moving car, or any of the other weird situations I find myself in. I never really mind it, but I have never in my career felt more out of place than I did that morning. Seeing the wives and children, parents and siblings all stood round, grieving the losses of their loved ones, some of whom, according to their gravestones, had only been dead for a few weeks. Seeing gravestones marked with birthdays from the same month and the same year as my own, and the empty graves that had been dug that were just waiting to be filled was heartbreaking. I asked Fynn if we could go and see where Taraz from the mural lay. And when we got there, his mother and his 2 brothers were there, tending the flowers. Now, seeing the tears in his mum's eyes above what looked like a proud smile, I put my camera away. We left shortly after that and packed up to go home a few hours after. When we got home, I read an article by my friend Fynn, who I met on the trip, who I think summed it up perfectly. This was an emotional reminder of the real lives we were hoping to impact. To help, perhaps in just a small way, is often easier than expected. Without dedicating our lives to a single cause, we can all make small, powerful habits of offering help to those that need it. All that's left to ask? What are you going to do?